Going live right now.
Let me know when.
I will. Right now.
How you doing, Miss Dixon Dudley, Miss Young?
Hey
Hi,
there.
good morning, Councilman Davis.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm blessed.
That's good to know. I think we all are at this point, huh?
Yeah.
Hey. Welcome to the third episode of Red Door Conversations. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Glad, safe and healthy. So today's show is entitled State of the Region. And we have a special guest. I'm gonna share his background and welcome again to my co-host, my current co-host, Lisa White. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Miss Marla Lewis.
Hello there, everybody.
Hey, Tana, how's it going in Tomball?
It's going wonderful. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Thanks for joining us again. So today's topic again is State of the Region, and we're going to be discussing what is going on in Houston as we prepare to reopen our city. Again, we do have a special guest on, and we want to get some insight to clear up the clutter and quiet the noise and get some clear direction from our local officials regarding how the Houston residents should move forward while we're reopening. So our guest today is a sitting council member for District B. He is now the longest serving council member on council. District B covers the north and northeast section of Houston, including Acres Homes, Fifth Ward, and IAH George Bush International Airport. He also serves as Vice Mayor Pro Tem. So welcome to the show, Councilmember Jerry Davis. How you doing? You're on mute.
Lisa, unmute him.
No,
He's
it's just
unmuted.
delayed. It's
Oh,
delayed.
it's a delay. Okay.
No,
All right.
I'm joking. I was on mute. Sorry about that.
Y'all see what we're ready for now, right? Y'all
Mhm.
prepared?
Let's see.
Well,
Good
welcome
day.
to the show.
Thank you, ladies, for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Uh-oh.
And hear you, Councilmember Davis.
You're frozen, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna let him get unfrozen, but before, and we'll dive in, and we have tons of questions. We'll do some
Okay,
Q&A.
he's
so
back.
hey, you're
We're good
back.
now.
You're back. All right, very good,
Yeah.
very good.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yeah, so we're out here in the community every day, just making sure we can try to take care of the constituents that are in a situation where they can't fend for themselves. They just need a little more help, additional resources. So it's that time right now, and understanding that, I too have a family, wife, and 3 children, trying to balance that load and make sure everything could, the city and our district goes well.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your service and your commitment and your sacrifices you're making away from your family right
Absolutely.
now. But there are, like what you just said, there's so many things that are top of mind for Houston residents. A lot of the questions are, what are we doing or how are we moving forward as a city as we plan to reopen? Restaurants are reopening. I read an article the other day in an NBC national publication, and they were talking about some of the restaurants that were opening, what they were doing to make the places safe for all of their guests. And you may have some intimate knowledge that you want to share about a few particular restaurants in the area. Feel free to do so. But what can you share with us about how restaurants and businesses are planning to open, and what type of, in the absence of national leadership, what are our local leaders sharing, or what kind of guidance are y'all giving some of the local business owners?
So, let me give you a brief description of what's going on. So we're all in the state of Texas, in the U.S., and their guidelines that the president has set forth, which is after 14 days of a decline, they're asking the states to kind of like monitor how they're going to reopen.
Okay.
Then you have the state of Texas that has this guidelines. And then we have Harris County that has a guideline. And then we have the city of Houston that has their guidelines.
Wow.
And for the most part, yes, state trumps county as well as city. And the feds, each state has somewhat of its own control, but the president has bargaining power based upon federal funding to each state. And so that's how they have to get along. And I don't know if you've watched New York, has he and the president have gone back and forth, deciding on when they were open, as well as California. And our governor has interacted in a different manner from the state of California. Our governor has that as governor of Florida as well as governor of Texas. They've interacted differently than the governor of New York, and it's based on politics now. Right now, I'm over here in Fifth Ward, Cashmere Garden area. And if you hear the noise behind me, this is an area where we call a vulnerable community. We're right in the heart of one of the largest railways in the state of Texas. And that's where you hear all the train noise behind me in the background.
Right.
Our local government, as far as the county and the city, we're taking it a bit more sensitive than our and our governor is. And what you have in the federal, and what you have is a clash of politics as we work with people's lives. We're talking about the city is Democratic and our county is Democratic for the most part. And now what we're doing, we're battling how to reopen in a cautious manner under the order of our governor. He's telling us, open this up, open up hair salons as of the 18th and so on and so forth. But we do know the people at these places, the frontline people, they're minorities.
Right.
And so again, I tell you, with underlining issues, I had to go to a funeral last week. It was my uncle. He went into the hospital with COVID, double lung pneumonia, on a ventilator, and he came out and as he was coming out, getting ready to go into recovery, he passed. And so for me, it's real. I lost a constituent in Pleasantville. So COVID-19 Corona, it's real. And I have to make sure that we're doing the best thing that we can for our community, because we do know this is the area with cancer clusters in it. Right. So we're having go ahead.
No, I was saying it's funny. It's interesting that you said that you're connecting the dots for people and making it real. Like these are people's real lives. It's not just opening up businesses, and there are real consequences to the actions. And the comment was maybe twofold, because what's happened is people don't know what their local guidelines are. And it could be because they're just conflicting with federal, but is there can you direct us somewhere where they can go to get some specific information about what's opening, what are the guidelines, what are the restraints on those businesses? And two, you talked about the people that you've lost, and I'm so sorry to hear that. My heart hurts, that it makes it real for some people who are saying, well, we're not affected, in Houston, we're so large, we're not affected. Yesterday's Houston, the Houston Health Department released the numbers, and I think we're up to a little over 5,000 cases and an additional 117 deaths. Right. So these are real lives. People are not just, numbers, but thank you for sharing that. But is there somewhere they can go? Houston, Harris County, City of Houston residents can go to get specifics regarding guidelines that the city is implementing.
Right. So again, and those are three places you have to go to get clarification on the rules. There's not one center. One is the state. And Governor Abbott has released his on the state of Texas website, telling you again, and we have to open, and these businesses, they have the right to open if they choose to.
Okay.
But you were speaking in particular, yes, my family, my brother, Marcus, my brother Anthony, they have the Breakfast Club, and they're not opening in that capacity as it relates to dining inside.
Okay.
They've allowed
Excellent.
space. Yeah, they've allowed spacing on the patio. My good friend Dimitri with Nico's,
Okay.
he's allowing spacing, eating to be done on the patio with spacing. But interior, a lot of the restaurants aren't feeling safe.
Right.
They're not feeling because they understand they have to go home to their families, and they know that the restaurant staff, that's their family. We've had guys and guys that have been with us at the Breakfast Club since inception. Their kids are grown up with our kids, same age, and so these men and women are our family. So it would hurt us if we would put them into jeopardy.
Right.
And so even with the city staff, we're spreading them out, allowing them to work from home. And so, and for the average Joe in the state of Texas, if they're saying, like other states, that you can reopen, then some of the states are not allowing them to collect an unemployment benefit. And so
if
they
the
have to go
state-
back to
Oh, wow.
Yes, ma'am. So
I didn't
some
know
of the
about
states,
that.
so some of the states, you file your unemployment benefit through the state. So some states are saying, okay, we're reopening, and if these businesses are in the category of being reopened, then you have to go to work or face losing your job.
Wow.
Hey,
And so you're put in a situation. Sorry.
That's okay. I was gonna, that brings us to our next question, Councilmember Davis. What are the plans that the city of Houston have in place in case once the city has reopened and we get a respike of COVID-19 cases? Is there a strategic plan that the city of Houston has put in place in case that does happen?
So the city and the county, we have models that have been constructed by Harris County and the city of Houston, Dr. Pearland, in conjunction with one of the greatest medical centers in the world,
That's right.
the TMC. And so different models have been put out that said if A happens, we need to do this, B, C, D, and so on and so forth. So we have those models. We just don't know which one we have to go into that would go into effect. We had a model. We thought our cases would be higher. Looking at China, looking at New York, the population. But one of the things that we are so grateful for is the density or the lack of density that we have. 647 square miles, that's the city of Houston. So we're spread out. As I said right now on a lot in Cashmere Gardens, 10,000 square foot lot that our kids use for growing vegetables and eggs and honey with bees. There's no one near me. And so we can be thankful of that we didn't have to suffer going up and down the elevator, like in the boroughs of New York and the Bronx and Queens and all those places stacked on top of each other. So our models are gonna differ. So we do have plans in place. The county had a plan. It was a huge, expensive plan, just in case we had spike levels that spiked up according to a certain model, and they brought in the facilities, the temporary facilities to host people with COVID-19. But luckily we didn't have to use it. So the answer is yes, we do have a model. There are many models that we can go from. So pretty much they're if and then loops if you're looking at computer programming.
Okay. If and then, that makes sense.
Okay.
Because everything is so up in the air. We need to be able to be fluid with this process, right?
Absolutely.
Correct.
And flexible.
And flexible, right. So the other thing that's on a lot of people's minds are, okay, now that we transition out of emergency mode, can we revisit, or can you share with us what plans the city was working on prior to COVID? And then what's planned for them moving forward? For instance, I work and live inside the Loop in the downtown medical center area. And one of the biggest projects that we saw, and I've been watching for years, is this I-45 highway improvement plan where they were going to pick up 45 and put it on, parallel to 59 and running straight through your district, council member.
Correct. Correct.
And so there were some freeway resistors, and then there was all these promises of reduced congestion. So people were kind of excited about that. So don't know what the plans are for that, but what I'm curious to know, is this something, because that's such a huge part of our day-to-day life, travel on the freeways. Is that in place, or is there an alternative plan being implemented? What, do you have an update or know anything about what's going on with that?
Well, we do know that the freeway. Okay, this is my answer. Okay, this is going to happen. In what way, we're not 100% for sure. The mayor just sent out a letter a couple of days ago from our planning and development department about the North Houston Highway Improvement Project.
Wait, say that. I'm sorry, say that again. The North Houston
Highway, yeah, that's 45.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I was just enlightening your guests with the
Title
term.
of the project.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So we're doing that, and what's happening is that I'm going to adjust my seat for a moment.
No worries.
So we're doing that, and what's occurring is that what has occurred over the last few years, we had many people to come up and say, hey, we're not aligned with that. We don't want that. That's, you're taking away exit here. You're giving us something there, and we really didn't ask for that. It's going to cause more traffic. You're going to allow certain houses to be torn down. So all these things are taking place, and so in the Fifth Ward area where 45 and I-10 and 59 will kind of meet right around the downtown area, which is like phase 2 or 3. We had constituents that come and tell us, hey, we want that exit back, because what's going to happen is that we're going to have to go all the way down and then go all the way around, and then we'll be fine. And so that has caused a problem for us. So now you have the downtown community, you have Third Ward community, you have HISD. Everyone's chiming in on what should occur right now and how we should do it. So the mayor put forth a couple of modifications. He's listed that. I can send that to you also. You can post for your viewers.
Okay.
You have hold on one second.
Are you getting rained on?
It's coming out. It's coming down.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking
Wow.
at
I'm
that.
under the tree though.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the mayor has put forth a bunch of
Went out.
Okay, he'll come back.
Gotta love
He's
technology.
I know, providing a lot of great
Definitely.
information.
Definitely in the Houston area. Go from sunshine to rain within
Yes.
a matter of minutes.
It'll be
Well,
hot.
Houston's weather's bipolar, right?
that's Houston.
Yeah. Welcome to Houston. Anybody planning to move here?
Yeah. So what he's done, he's allowed the planning commission to go across the city and have meetings to say what they wanted to see. And so, for example, in my area, they asked for. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, just you're
Okay.
frozen, but it's okay.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry. So, for example, in my area, they've asked for that exit, and then they asked for affordable project home apartments to not be torn down. If they were to tear this apartment complex down, which is subsidized and is under Houston Housing Authority, it would kill my elementary school in that area.
Mm.
It would kill my middle school in that area.
And
And
also
then-
displace some people, right? I mean, where would they propose to put these people if they're going to tear down a complete
What-
community?
And what they would do is they would tear it down. They would have to move out. Yes, they would make some accommodations. They would make people go and find somewhere to live. But more importantly, it would be undue pressure. When Texas give you a stipend expenditure,
Uh-oh, you're fading in and out, council member.
Mm-hmm.
So I am interested
He'll
in
come back.
getting that the modifications uploaded to the website, so to the Facebook page, and maybe we make this State of Texas website and some of the resources he shared earlier available to our viewers too. Council members back. Hey there, we see you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, so I said, when they tell you can move, they're not gonna give you the amount of money that you need to move. So you're gonna put an undue burden on these families that already are living from paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're gonna give them another expense, which is not right. And so that's from the district perspective, HISD, and then that's one of their fights. And then one of my fights is that when you really take these communities and separate them, you take away a voting block in the history of the community, as well as a voting block. And so they did it once before with I-10, and if you look at I-10 in Lockwood, there was a place called Lockwood Cemetery right there in 5th Ward. And then you'll see Lockwood. You will see a cemetery on the east side and the west side of Lockwood. They placed a street and a freeway right there on top of the cemetery.
Wow.
And that was back in the time when we didn't have representation at the state level. But you cannot. And then when you run I-10 and you run 59, I-10 and 59 is what separated 5th Ward from 3rd Ward, and that's from part of the Heights. And you put 5th Ward on an island by itself. And so we have to be cognizant of what we're doing to these communities. We have to make the streets, the local streets, connect with the freeway. Here in 3rd Ward, they're talking about, once you put more concrete, you have to have a certain amount of detention. And they're talking about putting a huge above ground water container in 3rd Ward.
That leads us to where we're wanting to take this next. I live and work in the Pearland area, and so I want to get an update from you, Council Member Davis, about the 288 toll expansion update. And then I want to ask you specifically, we see all the construction that is happening on 288 right there in the Museum District 3rd Ward area. I want to know specifically, has any drainage been put in place to eliminate the flooding that occurs there with every heavy flood?
So right now, they've done some detention. I don't know how much, because this is a county project. They've done some detention, and I'm not gonna drop anybody in the grease. No, I'm playing. They've done some work, some detention on this area, but what we're asking for, even with the state, we're asking for underground detention. You can build big areas where you can encase, capture water underneath the ground, so it will not be an eyesore. And so we know once the water, we put the concrete down, it's going to push the water outside of 288 into 3rd Ward, into Sunnyside, all up and down 288. So there's been some detention. To my knowledge, I don't know how much, and if it's all underground or what.
Okay. Now, Councilman Member Jerry Davis, one thing we didn't discuss is what are the city's plans for entertainment venues, like, our games, our Texans, Rockets, Dynamos, Astros, concerts. What are the plans for when we have?
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's it. No, we just want to know, like, what are the city's plans for reopening?
So every as you know, every league has a commissioner. MLB, they're in discussions right now. NFL, they're in discussions right now, and even the NBA. Tillman was on TV the other night talking about the Rockets as the owner of the Rockets. Everyone wants to make sure that when we re-enter or go back to our lives, we want to have some sense of normalcy. but we want to have respect of person. We want to have respect of their families. We want to have respect of just how other people live their lives.
Mhm.
So they're right now, even the NCAA, they're looking at how they can test a small group of people to come back and play games. So the NBA, they're talking about, can they go to Vegas? Can they go to Las Vegas, quarantine the players? How many officials? How many persons in the operation department from television, so on and so forth? And how long would that be? So if they did it, I don't think going back to each venue is a possibility.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So
No,
I
wow.
do.
What
So
do you
how
mean
long
by
do you think all of this is gonna, how long do you think it's gonna take to, to get back to going to these games? And
no one knows. I'm just gonna tell you, no one knows. And
okay.
again, that's why on 2 Wednesdays ago in City Hall, we passed a $15 million rent relief package for the months of April and May, no more than $1,056 per month. And we passed that because we heard a lot of people in our unions and those people that we encounter as you all big ballers go to your suites at the Rockets games and the Texans. You see the people who serve you in the suite. You see the people who take your ticket and so on and so, and the attendant at the parking lot. They're without a job now, and so if they don't have income, they can't pay for their home, their rent. And so what we were able to do again was to pass that $15 million. And guess what? That $15 million was gone within an hour and 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And was that just for the city of Houston?
That was just for the city of Houston.
Okay.
That was based on, we move money, and I know Miss Dixon Dudley is about to cringe. But it's in the best interest of people, so it was a good thing. We moved money that was given us from HUD, earmarked for possibly some down payment assistance or so on and so forth, where we had the capability of moving it to this sector to go ahead and give some rent relief to some of our constituents in the city of Houston.
So
and
did you give that money away based on qualifications? Did they have to fit a certain criteria, or what was that based on?
Yes, ma'am. It was a certain criteria that you had to be of a certain average medium income. You had to have been behind for April and May and not before. And I can actually send that to you as well, so you can post for your viewers. The landlord had to go in first and apply. And then the tenants they were a week before, and then the week prior, which was Wednesday, the tenants had to go in and either call in or go in via the internet. And they had to fit this criteria. It was it was not a lot, because the whole objective was to get them in there, get them some relief, and then get out.
And I think I saw on the news where that amount of money was only really able to service about 13,800 families. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay, which is not a lot at all.
No, it's not a lot at all. And so one of the things that, we try to do, and I'm looking out for my district, and I'm looking out for the city of Houston as well. But I do know, as my 8 years and 5 months on council, I've had, a lot of a lot of gentlemen that I've met, men and women, that have owned the property, or that they bought it, and they bought their home, they lived in it for years. And as people would die or move, or kids would take over the property, they would offer and they would buy the property across the street, down the street, so on and so forth. And they start leasing these properties out. Well, I wanted to make sure that these small mom and pop owners had an opportunity to get a bite at the apple as well. Because what was going to happen, and it kind of happened, these large apartment complexes would jump in and register all the people, and then they will be made somewhat whole for those 2 months, while Miss Johnson is left holding the bag, working on an agreement with her
landlord,
private landlord.
Yeah, the landlord. Well, she's been let off because there are no more Rockets game, or the Astros not playing right now, and they did that part-time as an attendant. And so all these things are working together. They're touching each other. And so we want to make sure that, myself, I know Councilmember Castex Tatum, and we were all out there just advocating and pushing it out via social media and RoboDials, making sure that people got their tenants signed up.
Well, that's really good, Councilman Davis. And the thing about it is, you said that, you guys moved some of those funds that were earmarked towards down payment. And yes, we all cringe a little bit, but we know we all have to give, a little bit in order to, make this a success, and we can all get through it together. But with that being said, I want to give a market update because many people do depend on those down payment funds. And with that being said, I want people to know that, the real estate market is still moving. People are still buying. Although, there has been some job loss and things of that nature. I just want to give people kind of what the changes has been, because it has changed a little bit. For instance, I'm reading off from the April, this is information from April, as of April, the last part of April. Total property sales in 2019 were 9,168, as opposed to this April of 2020, where there was 7,192 homes. Total property sales, that's a 21.6% difference. And so we're feeling the difference here. Total active listings last year were at 40,967. Right now we're at 41,151. So the change there is not that much different. However, where, the families that are looking for homes, they're really in situations where some people are falling out because of job situations related to COVID. And so with that being said, we want people to still be encouraged and to know that, as you said, it's not going to last. We don't know how long it's going to last, but it won't last forever. And so the people that are still able to take advantage of the programs and the loan products and things that are out there, you're still able to purchase and move forward with everything that is going on. The market is still moving. We have, right now, single family pending sales, we have 7,125 versus 8,645 last year. And so, there are some changes, but we are kind of riding this wave out and doing the best that we can. But that's the update, comparing 2019 to 2020. But we want to let you guys know that, as council member told us, we don't know how long it's going to last, but we'll get through it together.
And it's not as dismal as it seems, according to those numbers.
Exactly. No. Not at all, Kim, because, with everything that you hear in the media, you would think that, nothing is moving right now.
The sky is falling, right, Kim? Right, ladies?
Right.
Which it is not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some changes, but, not as much as it could have been with something going on like this.
Well, Marla, you didn't mention this in your market update, but the months of inventory is lower now than it was April of 2019. So that means that it's a much more competitive market. So that means that those properties that house that you want, 3 or 4 other people want that same house. So
we have experienced that.
Yes. So if you want that house, if I were you, I would not tell my agent, let me think on it and I'll let you know tomorrow, because it's going to be option pending the next day.
Yes. Now is definitely not a time to sleep on it. You're going to move, because there are not as many homes that are on the market as they were before. We are only at about 3.5 months worth of inventory on the market.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's not a lot, guys. It's
Mhm.
not a lot at all. So
So with
Mhm.
our challenges in other industries, oil and gas, of course, healthcare, the bright or silver lining is there's still people who are still employed and still have faith in our resilient
Amen.
Houston real estate market. And maybe that'll be what keeps us, our market strong and keeps us together so we can, like you said, Marla, weather this storm. So I think we're
So
wrapping
yeah,
up for
we're
today.
oh yeah.
This was a
Well,
good
Council
show.
Member Davis, we want to. Oh, look at that! Look at those
Look at the
chickens.
chickens.
Okay.
Love it. I love it.
Councilmember Davis, we want to thank you, the ladies and I, for joining us on the show and for answering our questions and providing some great information to our viewers.
Yeah.
We really appreciate everyone. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to another show of Red Door Conversations. And don't forget to like our Facebook page and also follow us on Instagram at Red Door Conversations, and also subscribe to YouTube.
All right. Well, thanks again, you guys, for sharing your Friday with me.
Absolutely.
And showing us your chickens.
And chickens. Stay away from the
Yes.
bees.
Look, they got their own little houses.
Oh, those are bees.
See?
No, those are beehives.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Before we go, Councilmember, can you tell us what that is?
Oh, so
I
this
heard
is
you earlier.
Oh yeah. So this is in District B, and so we name everything. And this is called the Beehive. It's 10,000 square feet of land that the city. It was an
Okay.
abandoned lot, and we took the lot and we refurbished it. And so we were actually, thank you, Kim, one of the board members, and we applied for a grant to harvest honey here. And so we have bees, and we can get that to you. And then we also have Meyer lemons.
Is that like a community garden?
Yeah, and so that's what we're doing. We have grapefruit, and so all these things, and then we have vegetables over there. So as they lay eggs, we do welfare checks with our seniors, and we'll go ahead and stop by, see how they're doing, and we'll just give them like about 4 eggs. We'll give them a few things. We'll give them some honey and just talk to them and just to see how they're doing.
Excellent.
Way to be a blessing. Way to be a blessing. Well, thank you again for your service and your commitment to the community. And we really appreciate you sharing your Friday with us and giving everybody an update on the state of our city.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate
it.
y'all.
Thank you.
All right, everybody stay well.
Have a great weekend,
Okay,
guys.
you guys do well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.